Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the stream. It's me, Digi, and I feel a little slow tonight. Kev, welcome in, my friend. Debrief means I talk about a recent experience, in particular, my recent trip to Disney. But the past couple of times I've tried or attempted to discuss it, I've either been really tired or just really blah. So, we're gonna have a little bit of fun tonight in the sim because I literally sat in front of the keyboard for like a hot like half an hour, and my brain's like, nope, you're not doing this tonight. So I'm gonna have a little bit of fun and just catch you folks up. If you're in the Discord, then you already know that I put pics up of the trip, and now for some strange reason, the last time I tried to share the Discord link, I couldn't actually display it in chat. And that's just weird. Yeah, it's still doing the same thing that I did before. Like, I used to be able to copy and paste the link, and now it's just not letting me. So, I'm going to mess around with this a little bit more and see if there's just a general place I can copy the server link. Create channel. No. That's just the weird thing. Send a server invite link to a friend. Oh, so I can only invite friends to my Discord? Did something happen to the Discord rules where I can't send a general invite to anybody? Okay, that's okay. Yeah. All right. See you when you get back, Kev. Oh, folks, forks. If you don't know my friend Kev Mikwa, who I like to call Kev, Kev is a friend of the channel and a fellow flight sim streamer himself. So, if you like explained content and you like cargo ops, give Kev Mikwa a follow. Kev is a strong Digi recommendation. Great content, nice person to talk to, a great enjoyable experience. Also, we seem to be having issues with the sim loading, or maybe it's just stuttering in the background when it starts up. That's fine. Alright, let's have a little bit of fun in a classic time waster, the H-125, because I'm all about that helicopter life the past few weeks, past month really. Let's go ahead and configure the helicopter, the whirlybird, and we'll do a passenger variant because I like passenger variants. The first flight seeing, oh, look at that. I can actually see the liveries now. Well, this is good. Okay, official. And I think that's the one I want. There we go. Tourist Discoveries. I like this livery. It's a silver and blue livery that I like to look at. We won't be on for too long tonight, probably about an hour, no more, but I did want to come on and just share some time and talk a little bit about the recent experience. And hopefully I'll be okay sim-wise. I've noticed watching other people stream, the new sim has been a bit stuttery, and I think it's just, mostly because bandwidth, because reasons. So, simple enough. Let's set up the fuel and payload. Set the fuel. about 75 to 80% full, and we'll take that. That's fine. That's fine. We'll take that. All right. So we have the helicopter set. And let's see. A relatively easy thing. Ooh, we could take off from Orlando Helicopter Adventures. Hello. That is dope. I think I'm actually going to do that. And it's literally on the other side of I-4, so we're not going to have difficulty finding Disney at all. All right, let's kick this thing off. This is probably going to be real time, real weather. If it's real weather and it's raining, I will disable both real time and real weather, and then we'll be good. And it also looks like the helipad is a bit borked. Such is life. It's all right. Let's go ahead and set up for daylight flights. And we will do probably like a 9 a.m. departure. That's fine. We seem to be on photogrammetric spikes, but that's okay. Before I take off, do I at least have my lights on? Let's ignore the taxi lights. Where's my landing lights? Anti-collision lights. Taxi light control, rotor collective, hydraulic power. I know the lights were on here somewhere. Spare. Landing lights. There we go. Okay. I'm not using the 2020 keybinds, so I'm going to rely on my gamepad select button for view switching. Okay. At least it wasn't stuck. That's good. Okay, up and away. I think I'm facing north-northwest now, so the more I climb, the easier it's going to be for me to see where we're going. Slow climb is good. And I think that is that's this highway I'm looking at right in front of me. I think it's a tollway. Let me check. Okay. Well, this is also kind of staying in place for me. The assisted cyclic and collective is way easier in 2024 than it is in 2020. It's not perfect. I mean, I am drifting a bit, but it's doing its job. Let's see. Yeah, not much more to do. Wow, the AI is really good in this helicopter. I can just pan around this thing right now. That's pretty good. Alright, let's ease forward a bit and get underway. Okay, so welcome on in, everybody. If you're new, my name is DIGI Driver. I am a scenery developer for Microsoft Flight Simulator Airport Development. I also occasionally do flight sim streams. I do occasionally like to fly in the sim, and tonight is one of those nights. I'm just taking it easy tonight and enjoying some time in the sim and talking about my recent trip to Disney. I think this is the tollway that services the international airport, Orlando, of course. And then the road I'm looking at that's right off my nose is the feeder road that goes into the main entrance to Disney World. Now, we're going to do a little bit of sightseeing real quick, not too much, but I will take you around some of the places that I visited on my trip last week, and I will also zoom in a little bit to some of these photogrammetric buildings and enjoy the space a little bit more. I will say, to a certain extent at least, the road traffic seems slightly improved, and I, for one, appreciate that. But, ooh, wow. What was I trying to say? Uh, I don't think you can edit road traffic in this sim yet. At least I don't remember. But the buildings look okay. Yeah, they're not bad. Now, I'm not sure how much you know about Disney lore, and to be honest, I don't know that much myself, but when Walt Disney created Disneyland in California many decades ago, one of the things that happened was that there were a lot of like hotels and things that sprung up right next to it, and in one sense it almost looks like on a map they just kind of like really squeezed it in. I would imagine that Disney as a company is probably hyper vigilant about any opportunities it has to take over the hotel areas and land around the Disneyland park, because I'm assuming they're probably going to try to take over and expand Disneyland as much as possible. I can imagine it's probably a situation similar to that of, like, say, Tokyo Disney or any Disneyland, any Disney themed park where the land surrounding the park is such that it's very constrained. Disney World is different. Disney World was kind of this collected effort to create something where Walt bought a bunch of land on the sneak. There were a bunch of companies that were conceived specifically to buy different pieces of land in what's now become Lake Buena Vista, Florida. And essentially, I think the game plan was they said, okay, if we can't get a bunch of land purchased ourselves, because people will take notice of it, then we have to buy different pieces of land separately and then build on them. There's the famous Disney World sign, where dreams come true. This looks a lot better than the sign in the FS 2020 version. This is pretty neat, actually. You can see it. You can see Mickey and Minnie even clearer than you could in FS 2020, which is great. So they kind of like really enhanced it, or at least they got sharper resolution photogrammetry. So this is where you come in, and depending on where you stay in the parks, there are multiple roads you can take to go to different resort hotels. And I think just off to my left is one of the newest ones, which I think is the French Riviera Resort Hotel, which is just outside of Epcot. And you can take a Skyliner to get here. And it's, for lack of a better phrase, I like to use the word swanky, as in you step into this place. This place gives me the feeling that the Grand Floridian Hotel in the Magic Kingdom used to give me, where it's like the Grand Floridian used to be the kind of gold standard for like upper crust Disney resort hotel stayage, and now they kind of pass the mantle on to the Riviera, and it's this big, beautiful, massively like constructed and expensive looking place. I don't think anybody that I know has tried to stay here, but I can say that I've been here. And oh, Minnie and Rob. And basically, when you walk through the lobby, it just looks like a place that you'd visit when you were in, for example, well, the French Riviera. I've never been, but I can imagine some of the places over there are very, very, very nice to stay at. And just off of that is the Caribbean Beach Resort, which is basically, looks like a bunch of like island. Oh wait, is this it? Or am I looking at the right area? No, we're pretty close. I think this is the resort hotel area. Yeah, this is the Caribbean Resort, and I think in the middle is the area where like you transfer trams and what trams? Skyliners? Oh, there we go, there it is. There's where you transfer, and you can take a Skyliner over to Hollywood Studios, or you can kind of follow this road, which is more like it's more like like a under Skyliner kind of like service area. They don't have the Skyliner here. I mean, all anybody has to do is just render the poles and maybe even animate it. There's a thought, did you? So it would take a good chunk of effort, but it's probably not impossible to do. And there are two kind of like not value, but maybe value resort hotels. On my right is the Art of Animation Resort, and on my left is Disney's Pop Century Resort. And in the middle is the area where you board or disembark from the Skyliner. And you can kind of tell there's like, pop icons or things that you'd recognize in the Pop Century Hotel. And then there's going to be recognizable Disney IP, like Timon and Pumbaa, and characters from, the Cars movie, and even on the hotel walls right there you see drawings of Squirt from Finding Nemo. Photogrammetry being what it is, not everything's going to be perfect, so I'm not expecting the cars below to look any better, but at the same time we can try getting a little bit closer and seeing if it actually looks okay. I see Radiator Springs and Ornament Valley. On the left is the kind of like the old squad car, and right in front of me is the car that represents Doc Hudson. Let's set it down in the center here for a little bit. Oh, not bad, not bad. Yeah, so it's hard to tell, and I mean, it's not, sidelight imagery, like I can't expect photogrammetry to be this perfect down here. I think honestly, if anybody made a scenery, it would be to replace the photogrammetric renderings of all these like cars and stuff with, genuine scenery objects. I just don't know how to replace or to override what the photogrammetric trees are and get rid of them so you can actually see other things. But I did walk through Art of Animation to get on the gondola or the Skyliner to get to places like Hollywood Studios or other places, which eventually got me to Epcot. So let's go ahead and go over Hollywood Studios and I'll show you a little bit of the place. Now, spoiler alert, it is going to it is going to show you the areas behind the rides. So if you don't want to see that, cover your eyes. But I am literally overflying the massive parking lot and the palm trees and coming into the area where the tram drops people off at the entrance. There's also a boat you can take to Hollywood Studios from the Dolphin and Swan and from the Boardwalk and the Yacht Club and Beach Club resorts, and also, of course, from Epcot. And we are overlooking a very cluttered top of Hollywood Studios. So it's kind of hard to describe, but we will go over it in detail. By the way, folks, give me just a moment to double check if chat has been talking to me and I've missed it. Okay, no. I have another view open, but sometimes it doesn't show me all the text that comes in. We'll do the best we can and we'll kind of slowly tool over Hollywood Studios, but essentially you come into Hollywood Studios and you kind of go down a couple of main drags. The first main drag takes you to the Disney representation of kind of like the Chinese theater that was like in Hollywood. And over here in this main area past these trees was where they used to have this Disney 100 hat, like the Mickey Wizard's hat, and it was there for a good, I want to say, 20 years before they finally got rid of it. It was like literally in the middle here. And this movie theater actually used to be called the Great Movie Ride. And they replaced it with Mickey's Runaway Railway, which I've been on, and it's fun. It is fun. Like it's a fun ride to be on, if you like kind of like slightly moving rides. But it's not the same. I'm a bit of a old school guy, and I like the old movie ride. This is another kind of like main drag where you go down to the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. And you can either go that way or you can go just beyond these trees to this area here, which is the Rock and Roller Coaster. It's really hard to see because the trees that are here are blocking the entrance area, so I'll try to get you down as much as I can. It is hard to show you. But in here, nestled in this kind of like nook, is basically where you board the ride and you go in. And you can tell that it's a big ride because you walk through a bunch of like areas, and then the ride launches you like into this dark movie-filled experience where like you're going upside down, you're corkscrewing, you're listening to Aerosmith music, and then essentially you come back out and you exit through the gift shop. Okay? So let me gain some altitude and see if I can't take you to Galaxy's Edge. I did go to Hollywood Studios. I did get to ride the Rock and Roller Coaster with the Aerosmith music. I did go to Star Tours as well, which is not in Galaxy's Edge, but it was basically what the Star Wars content used to be while they were building Galaxy's Edge. I also went to the Indiana Jones Stunt Show Spectacular, which was fun to watch. And Okay, yeah, I'm getting my bearings now. The Stunt Show Spectacular is off to my left, and right around here, if I slow down a little bit, I should see the area where the Star Tours ride is. I think I'm literally hovering in front of it right now. Like just in front of my nose, right here is where Star Tours is, and you get this 3D experience riding on rides, and it'll be like a random pick, whether it's the Wookiee planet, or you going to Naboo, or you going through the Death Star. It's like randomly chosen. Over here is like the Muppet area where you have Muppets 3D, which I didn't do this year that I went there, but the week went by so fast, and honestly, the rides that I got to go on, I enjoyed. This is Galaxy's Edge, and it's hard to pick apart, but if I move slowly enough, I can probably show you some of the um, vehicles and experiences that you might see. Just over the helicopter, or excuse me, just under the helicopter, is this red and white thing, which is an A-wing fighter, and over there, just under that palm tree, is an X-wing. You can't see it right now. And around here is the Rise of the Resistance ride, which I couldn't ride because I think it kept breaking down. And the photogrammetry is not doing this place any favors, but there's places you can go to grab bites to eat. I had this wonderful, delicious thing called a Ronto wrap, which is basically like a hot dog in a chalupa with coleslaw, which is yummy. And in here you have different shops. There's also an experience where you can actually create your own lightsaber, which I haven't done. It's also probably quite expensive. And what else? You can probably meet characters, and like I said in my Discord, I did run into Chewie as he was running from one place to another, and I saw Rey as well. The the transport shuttle that Kylo Ren owned is kind of like right under the helicopter, and I should be able to see the Millennium Falcon. There it is. It's right over here, right in this kind of like nook. Is it modeled properly in 2020? Oh, well, this is 2024. Are you talking about the Cowan Sim um, Airbus H-125 helicopter, which I'm flying? I don't know if it's study level in a sense. I'm in 2024. I'm not sure if I put the stream title correctly. I should have put it correctly. Yeah, I did. But are we talking about, if we're talking, oh, the scenery. I would say, based on my experience and me being here last week, things look like they are where they are. Of course, photogrammetry is going to omit some details because of, geometric occlusion, we'll call it that, and just how photogrammetry can't map everything perfectly. But you can see the Millennium Falcon right there. So, there you go. I did go on Smuggler's Run with Mrs. DIGI, and we had a great time. We had the ship to ourselves. There was no one else on the ship at all, and the AI helped us with like grabbing coaxium and fending off the other ships, and we were busy piloting the actual unit. Now, let me spin around this way, and we'll go ahead and take you to Toy Story Land. There was even less that I did in Toy Story Land other than eating. But the good thing about Toy Story Land is that they have this new thing called Woody's Rodeo, which is a kind of like fun and playful dining experience. You don't meet characters there, but you do hear them talking and like carrying on, and you have great food. So it's on the other side of Slinky Dog Dash, which I'm about to fly over. And it should be where these trees are. So right around... I don't know if they've modeled it yet, but right around here, like right in this nook right here, is where I'm guessing they created the rodeo, the dining experience. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm about 100% sure. So, yeah, there wasn't much that I did in Hollywood Studios this year, but again, the rides that I did go on, I enjoyed. And the Woody's Rodeo experience has really good barbecue food if you're into that, and you don't mind a dining experience with character, not character dining, but it was fun. I'm going to take you down the boat path, which is eventually going to lead us to the Dolphin and Swan on the left, and we're also going to go to the Boardwalk and Beach Club and Yacht Club resorts. So, off to my left, you have the Dolphin and the Swan. Those are really upper crust in terms of at least their appearance, or at least it felt like we were going through a really swanky hotel when we actually walked through it some years back. I didn't actually walk through it at the time last week, but over here off to my right, I believe is I think this is the boardwalk. I think. Oh no, the boardwalk's over there on the far side. This, I believe, is the... No, isn't it? Yes, this is the boardwalk because the yacht club is on the far left over here, and the beach club's over there. So yeah, this entire thing from end to end is boardwalk, and then you have the Dolphin and Swan on my left. Nice place to walk around in, probably has a few nice shops. Honestly though, if you like walking through hotels and looking at things and going ooh and ah, you probably want to walk through the Yacht Club Resort, and the Beach Club Resort probably has a few nice places for you to stay in if you want to. Boardwalk is interesting because it kind of has it's right next to Epcot. You can literally walk from the board. You can literally, excuse me, walk from the boardwalk, which is over here, to Epcot, which is over there. Or you can walk to either one of these places here. Beach Club Resort has this place called Cape May Cafe, which has very good buffet style dining. If you're into steak or prime rib, they have it. If you're into seafood, they have it. So feel free to check that out. And I would say one of the things that I enjoyed about the vacation was going to Epcot more than a few times. This is the International Gateway entrance. So if you're coming from the Beach Club or the Yacht Club or the Boardwalk, you go straight into the World Showcase, and it deposits you into the UK, and you can go on the right into France and ride the Ratatouille 3D ride, or you can keep going down the UK to Canada and to the, I think, Future World area. I visited the UK but did not buy any tea. I visited France and did eat some wonderful quick service meals and snacks, including a incredibly delicious ice cream that they had. And here, although it's a little bit difficult to see in the sunshine, is their representation of Morocco. They had great, it sounded like wonderful music playing, and Then when you go past Morocco, you wind up in Japan, and then the American Adventure, which is that kind of like theater-looking thing down by the lake. When we were there, they were doing the candlelight processional, which is where they have folks create this basically living Christmas tree, and there's multiple groups of singers, and people narrate the Christmas story and the birth of Jesus Christ through that that service. Yeah. And here you have a kind of like a showing, I think once or twice or three times a day, from the Voices of Liberty. It's a singing group, and they have a thing about the presidents of the United States. And then you have Italy, which has some wonderful eateries and shops, and Germany, where you can get a family style, actually no, a buffet, well, a cross between a family style and a buffet style experience at the beer garden. And you can get custom gifts. You can get custom gifts that are engraved. You can get uh, you can get pretzels and beer, and then the rest of the areas, there's like this kind of like outpost area that I'm not sure what they've decided to do with yet. And then you go to China, and right next to China is Norway, where you ride Frozen Ever After. And next to Norway, which you'll keep kind of tooling past, is Mexico. Mexico has a dining experience and also a relaxed water ride where you ride along with Donald Duck and his friends. And then again, you kind of like loop back around to what used to be called Future World, which is essentially kind of like the default Epcot area. Now, in the middle, they finished construction on this kind of like beautiful area, which used to have like kind of like a waterfall, and it used to literally be called Future World. So you had some more or less themed areas and shops, and now it's different. Now it's like way more green. On my right, this cylinder is Test Track. It was closed for renovation. And there's also Mission Space over there, along with the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, which I did not go on because I heard it is quite intense in terms of making you motion sick if you're not prepared for it. On my left is the Journey into Imagination with Figment, and that glass pyramid is kind of like a members only area where you can chill if you are a Disney Vacation Club member. And just off to my left as we approach it is the land. That's where you can take this ride called Living with the Land, which takes you through a greenhouse, or you can go on Soarin' and pretend you're flying over, various portions of the world. Then you have the seas with Nemo, which is this way. And there's also an aquarium here where you can also see actual fish and manatees and dolphins. Although I didn't see any dolphins when I went there last week. So somewhere around here where I'm kind of hovering is where they created Moana Land, which is like kind of like a journey of water. It was fun because that day was kind of warm, and it was nice to go in there and kind of get refreshed a little bit. It was enjoyable. And of course you have the Epcot Ball where you can ride this thing called Spaceship Earth, and it's a great thing to do on really hot days in there because it's kind of cool, and the ride has animatronics. And then of course you can take a monorail from here back to the Ticket and Transportation Center, which can then let you take a monorail into the Magic Kingdom, which is where we're going to go next. Epcot is still my favorite place to go to. It's cool enough for me and has enough variety for me to enjoy it. It's not everyone's cup of tea, and I understand that, but to me it still has just enough kind of like old flavor of the Disney experiences that I remember to be cool and to stay interesting. The World Showcase is a nice way to spend time, kind of like enjoying the shopping experience and eating good food. So now we're going to go and breeze through Magic Kingdom, something which I've done many times in FS 2020, but this is a FS 2024, and I am kind of impressed by how the road kind of like looks a bit better, and the traffic's marginally improved. There are some traffic lines that aren't correct, but is what it is. There used to be a racetrack there which has been repurposed, and there's additional traffic which I think the photogrammetry is kind of hiding. But the parking area for Magic Kingdom is huge, much bigger than I think any of the other parks that I've seen out here. And what happens here is that you wind up at the Ticket and Transportation Center, and then you transfer to a different monorail to go around the resort area. So we're going to go take a quick look at the resort hotels, take a look at the Contemporary, and then double back to the Magic Kingdom. And then I'll probably go ahead and call it for tonight. So I spent some time in the Polynesian, which is where we're at right now, to go to Ohana and have dinner with family. Ohana is... You need your what? Okay. Oh, stand by, guys. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right. I accidentally hit the return to sim before I actually got comfortable again. But yeah, this is the Polynesian, and the main station is just slightly ahead of me, but in the main building there is a restaurant called Ohana, where you basically get great um, themed dining. There aren't any characters that you could meet there, but the food speaks for itself. They make yummy, yummy food, including grilled chicken that I just could not stop eating. It was just amazing. Yes, I could have stopped eating, but it was so delicious that I wanted more and more and more of it. So that's how it works. There is some shopping there as well, and of course they have lots of hotel rooms, including a DVC experience, which I think they're either building or just finished building a few months ago. And then we go back to what I call the old guard, which is basically Disney's Grand, Grand Floridian Resort. And this has a this has a wedding chapel on the lake, which looks at the Cinderella Castle, and it has some uh, regular resort hotel rooms and Disney Vacation Club rooms, and a grand area that's connected to the monorail where you can go in and you can kind of look at the main lobby and sometimes hear people playing on a piano. And at this time of year, you can see an amazing, huge Christmas tree on display and a gingerbread house, both of which we saw when we were down there. Lots of rooms to stay in here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and cut across the lake to go to the Contemporary Resort. The Contemporary Resort, like the other resorts, has a kind of like regular resort hotel section. The Contemporary Resort also has a conference center, and the iconic building that's ahead of me on the right, the big one that looks kind of like a box, is the one that I think that one of the very first, like basically resort hotels that was built. This hotel literally has the monorail go through it, and the kind of like horseshoe looking building out by what I think is called Bay Lake. This is the Disney Vacation Club property, which connects to the main Contemporary Resort Hotel by means of a elevated walkway, which you see right there. And immediately below me is literally the monorail. On the other side of Bay Lake is the Fort Wilderness area, and in the tree line, and you can't quite see it from here, is the Fort Wilderness Lodge. But the Contemporary Hotel is basically one of like the icons of Disney World, and it has a wonderful place to eat at called Steakhouse 71, which makes delicious food. I went there. I had a tenderloin steak, and it didn't look like they gave you much, but the flavor profile and the professional grade cooking that takes place over there, it just makes the whole experience great. And of course, coming into Magic Kingdom, the crown jewel of essentially the Disney experience in Disney World. If you like, you know, playing pretend and you're still a kid at heart, Magic Kingdom is essentially your place to go to. There's basically no other way to say it. The interesting thing about the Magic Kingdom is that if you notice, there's this kind of like valley here. It's not as easy to see with the monorail, but when you exit the monorail station on my left, and then you go down, or excuse me, you go into the park, you actually walk up a story without even knowing it. So in other words, when you walk through Main Street USA, you're essentially walking on the second floor of the theme park. You've gone up a story. You've gone up a floor without really realizing it. And down here, of course, is Main Street USA, which has a bunch of shops and like, snack experiences or, candy experiences. Casey's Corner is off to my left, and that's where you can get, kind of like things like hot dog and fries, and I think you can get ice cream there too. And of course, in front of me is the Cinderella Castle, which they have worked on. Ignore the trees that are here, because I think that at least those right up against the Cinderella Castle don't need to be there. That's just, I think they were plugged in by AI. And they have performances in front of the castle, and they have fireworks that go off here, which is wonderful. On my right is Tomorrowland, which I went into and rode the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover to rest my feet and to enjoy looking at some of the things I usually look at. There's not as much here as there used to be, but they've kind of made up for it. Like, for example, here on my left, there used to be this thing called the Stitch's Great Escape. And on my right, there used to even be something called the Monsters Incorporated Laugh Floor. I think the Laugh Floor, which is here, was actually running, but I don't recall seeing any advertisement for it or that it was even open. So I'm not sure if it's just kind of like in an off season right now. Here is the Carousel of Progress, which fortunately was working, and it's basically one of my beloved rides. You basically go through the 20th century with a family as they experience new and different things. Here you have the Astro Orbiter, which is basically like a merry-go-round up like 3 or 4 stories in the air, and then these kind of like roads beneath me. Those are the tops of the People Mover. The People Mover is usually a covered ride, so if it's raining really hard, there's a good chance you might still get a little bit of break from the rain, unless it's absolutely storming. In front of me is the Space Mountain ride, and over in the tree line here is basically where they built the Tron Light Cycle run, which I don't think they finished in terms of the snapshot of the photogrammetry they took, but I did ride the ride and it was quite fun. So definitely something to consider riding if you're into thrill rides and you want something that's neat and somewhat smooth. Actually, it was a very smooth ride. I did not spend a whole bunch of time in Frontierland at Magic Kingdom, so I did not go on Runaway Railway. I didn't go on the Princess Tiana's Bayou ride, which used to be Splash Mountain. I did go on Tomorrowland Speedway, which is right underneath me. And I'm descending a lot. Hold on. There we go. I did not go on the... I didn't go on the Pirates of the Caribbean. I didn't go on things like, It's a Small World or the Winnie the Pooh Adventure ride, which I typically do. But it's okay. I rode what I rode, and I'm back home. If I want to go that badly, I can buy a plane ticket and fly down there and spend a significant amount of money again to relive the rides. I'm directly overhead the merry-go-round in the middle of, I think Fantasyland, and on my left I think is Disney's PhilharMagic, and then you have the Peter Pan ride. On my right you have the Small World ride, and there's this tiny area down there that looks like Rapunzel Land, and then beyond that is the Haunted Mansion, and on my left is Frontierland, which has some themed American exhibits like Liberty Tree Tavern, which is great family style food, and they just keep bringing out to you. It's delicious. I did not, unfortunately, get to go on the steamboat ride, and I do hear it's going to be decommissioned soon. But I did go on it once, so it is what it is. So, in terms of my experience this year, went with family, enjoyed some great food, did a whole bunch of walking, and there was even stuff that I'm not going to have time to go over with you tonight in terms of my trip to Animal Kingdom, seeing a lot of animals in a safari. If you are a member of my Discord, then you already know that there are pictures there you can look at. I'm going to climb around a little bit and get some altitude, and then we're going to go check out Disney Springs, and I think that's where I'm going to call the stream. What time is it right now? Okay, 10:32, so it's not bad, not bad. I'm going to be on for like another hour, and then I'm basically shutting it down. I'm sorry, another half hour. Also, a little bit of trivia for you folks. There used to be a tiny, 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 tiny runway here, and there used to actually be an airport that you could fly into if you had a sufficiently small plane, which has since been decommissioned. I don't know how many years ago the airport was decommissioned, but I know it's gone. If you land there, you better have a very good reason for it. I can only imagine. But we're going to go ahead and swing around to Epcot, and then we're going to take, I think, Bonnet Parkway or whatever that road is to Disney Springs. We'll overfly Disney Springs like I like to do on a regular, and then we're going to go and call the stream. And to everyone that's been lurking tonight, and to those that said hello, thank you. Appreciate having you all here. I don't fly I don't fly as anywhere near as study level as I used to, because I'm more into scenery development these days, but I also don't spend as much time flying as I do trying to do scenery development. Tonight was a different night because tonight I was just, for lack of a better phrase, mental. Just run down, and it just felt like I was having a little bit of fun, and hopefully come back strong tomorrow and start over. So, right in front of me is Disney Springs as I overfly what I believe is Key West Resort. And over there, I think, is Port Orleans along with Saratoga Springs. And let's go ahead and start bringing the bird down. Disney Springs is kind of like a outdoor shopping mall experience, which I've talked about before. It has a lot of dining and entertainment and shopping opportunities. It also has Cirque du Soleil, which is that weird building off to my left. And the parking garage, there are like two of them. There's an orange and a green parking garage, I believe. I think that one is orange and the other one is green. So, Cirque du Soleil off to my left, like my 9 o'clock, right there. And then you have the movie theater, and there are plenty of places to go to get things. I went to this sweet place called Everglazed, where you can actually get very good and very big donuts. I tried a maple double bacon donut, and also, I'm trying to remember what it was that I had. I think it was just like a straight up glazed donut, chocolate glaze or something. They're big. They're very big donuts. Like I said, absolute bumper crop of dining experiences here and shops. There's even an area where food trucks go, where you can try food truck cuisine. The weird kind of dome off to my immediate left is an actual balloon, which is sometimes working or sometimes grounded because of weather. It was windy that week that I went, last week. And then this is Planet Hollywood. And over here, this box with the Coca-Cola logo That's the Coca-Cola experience. And in Epcot, you used to be able to go to this place called Club Cool and sample Coke drinks from around the world. Mrs. Digi tells me that Club Cool still exists at Epcot, but the Coca-Cola experience has a store, and it has um, a rooftop kind of like bar slash soda bar where you can go and you can sample Coke drinks from around the world. You know, Fanta, the infamous or the famous Beverly drink from, I think, Italy, various other drinks as well. Immediately below me is the Chicken Guy restaurant where you can actually have really good, really quick chicken strips. They're delicious. And in here, this kind of like building has a whole bunch of really, really upper class shopping places. And I think in general, this whole section of Disney Springs is just kind of like you going to a mall in like a place like, you know, New York or LA, where there's a lot of places you can go to get different, you know, name brands for like jewelry or clothing or makeup. It's very nice to walk through. It does its job. It makes you want to buy stuff. But we browsed, we window shopped, we had a good time. Coming up is probably one of the most iconic stores in the world with regards to Disney, the Disney Store. This store is basically the world headquarters for any kind of Disney merchandise you want to get. It's essentially I think like a 2 or 3 story building, but you're only on the first floor, and there's any number of blankets and shirts and toys and I think food and other items you can purchase. Off to my left is the Lego store where you can buy a whole bunch of Legos, but the size of the Lego store pales in comparison to the size of the Disney store. Again, like I said, I think this is where you can get 99.99999% of all the merchandise sold across Disney parks and probably around the world. So if you don't find it in this store, it's either because you literally have to go somewhere physically to get it, somebody else has Disney exclusive merchandise that is not being sold to the store, which is probably highly rare, or it just doesn't exist. Here is also something which I like, the Ghirardelli chocolate store. I did not go in here this trip, but you can get a whole bunch of Ghirardelli chocolates, and you can also, in theory, get something called drinking chocolate, which is basically the strongest batch of hot chocolate you will ever have in your life, with the exception that it's basically melted chocolate, which is, I think, in essence, what hot chocolate was probably designed to be from the start. Like melted chocolate you could drink. Whereas hot chocolate is usually in powder, or you mix powder in with milk or with hot water, depending on your tolerance. And essentially, this area here is like the really kind of like original shops where you could get a whole bunch of things ranging from food to candy at Goofy's candy store to Christmas keepsakes at the Christmas store, which I didn't go into. And you can either double back to take the bus on the other side of the property, or if you were, for example, at Saratoga Springs across the way, you could just walk back to your hotel room. And immediately below me is the Rainforest Cafe. So, what did I do when I went there this past week? I went to Disney's Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and Magic Kingdom. I visited multiple hotel properties like Fort Wilderness Lodge, Saratoga Springs, the Boardwalk, the Beach Club Resort, and I got to see more than a few different Christmas trees and themed decor. I rode a bus. I almost rode a boat. I rode a monorail, and I walked a lot. And I flew in on an airplane and flew home on an airplane in and out of Orlando International Airport. I would say the photogrammetry for Disney World has improved slightly because I think it's been updated. And I would say I enjoyed my trip. Like all vacation trips you take to a destination like Disney World, it goes by so fast. Um, the best thing I can tell you is just, expect to have delays, expect to have things change on you last minute, expect to run into problems with dining experiences, or, expect to wait a little bit longer for a bus if you have to. Take it with a grain of salt. And also be prepared to have to potentially pack more than a few different kinds of clothing for your trip. I went in December and I like cold weather, but it actually got even almost about as cold as it was where I live, which is a little bit rare, but not uncommon. So, go down there, enjoy yourself, have a great time with friends and family. What? First off, Scooter 7, hello, my friend. It's been a good long time. I'm so happy to have you back. I am in FS 2024, enjoying the sights at Disney World in Orlando. And I also went to Disney with my wife on our honeymoon. Uh, she had been there multiple times before, so had I been. It had been a long time since I went there, but we went many, many years ago, before they even revamped the Disney Springs area. They used to be called Downtown Disney, and there used to be different experiences there. There used to be Disney Quest, which had like a bunch of like futuristic interactive experiences, essentially an adult arcade. And where Planet Hollywood was, and where those other restaurants were, was called Pleasure Island, and it was different. It was different. You were at Universal for Halloween. Okay, I won't lie. I would like to visit Universal next year to go see their revamped area for I think Nintendo World, because they're gonna have stuff like Super Mario, Mario Kart, stuff like that. But I'm almost afraid to go there just for that, to the extent that if it's not as good as I think it is, then it's gonna be like, oh, it's gonna feel so flat. But I think that's just me in general. I try to be a little bit more open-minded about certain experiences, but honestly, I'm very guarded because I like a certain amount of I like to indulge in nostalgia, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But Scooter 7, thank you so much for stopping by. Really, really great to see you again, my friend. It's been such a long time. I am wrapping up a quick kind of like vacation debrief, and I've been flying around areas like Epcot. Oh, you lurk. Well, thanks for the lurk, my friend. Really appreciate it. So you already know. I've talked about this before. I talked about how you have a 10-month-old. Wow, that's crazy. That's amazing. Congratulations. I uh, I don't have any kids yet, but I think there is a strong possibility that Mrs. DG and I are going to be working on some kind of program. I just need to get my rear end gear and figure out how we can actually do stuff like adoption. I think it's something that I really would like to do, and and if I think time goes by fast now, once once we adopt our first child, that's just going to be like a temporal vortex of time. But I think there's some things that we have to get figured out. I mean, well, Mrs. Digi's just so much more on point about a bunch of stuff than I am, but um, for lack of a better phrase, there's things that we want to prepare and take care of. But it's not that I don't want a family. Believe me, I think that would be an ultimate adventure, for sure. Maybe it's time for me to actually spend some more time thinking about stuff like that and setting up the dominoes to knock them over appropriately. But that's a conversation that I will probably most likely let chat and Discord in on, provided events change. Um, well, Scooter, let me put it to you this way. You will be able to easily suss out my age, and I would ask that you not share it on stream, if you understand or can date me based on the following. I am a self-professed child of the 90s. I know what it's like to have to take out a Nintendo cartridge and blow on it to get it to work. A bad idea, by the way, since that basically rusts the connectors. I grew up with, everything from Muppet Babies to Saved by the Bell. And I grew up knowing what a Nokia brick was and also having my own pager. So I am younger than old, but I am definitely older than young. So, if you can suss out my age based on those factors, then you already know how old I am. Nerd Bark, hello, friend. Very good to see you. Welcome aboard. Man, folks are coming out of the woodwork to say hi. I'm privileged. Good to see you, friend. Um, been a while. Been a while. Happy to have you aboard. I keep saying I'm gonna wrap up the stream, but people keep popping in to say hello. This is kind of fun. I think I'm gonna put a hard stop in about like maybe 15, 20 minutes though. No dumpy feelings allowed. Thank you, my friend. Oh, well, to be completely open and honest with you, I am not dumpy about my kind of like, guess my age thing. Like I still don't feel like I'm at a place where I'm like, "Mm," except of course when we're talking about things like IRL work and the problems that I've experienced over the past few years. But again, even my issues are basically first world problems. So I get you. I get you. I am definitely grateful for the experiences and for the people that I've spent time with over the past couple of years. Work sex in general. Stuff happens. Life gets unpredictable, and we go down paths that we weren't expecting or wanting to go down. This year in particular, I worked on some particularly strong projects, which really stretched me. They didn't push me out of my comfort zone. They dragged me out kicking and screaming. So I had to learn a lot, and I got humbled. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna be afraid to confess that there was a lot that I thought I knew that I didn't, and I made it through the other side of several projects that I was working on. And I think in general the experience has taught me quite a bit. So I'm glad to be at this point. Boo, work. I think any of us that's even close to being a professed flight sim streamer or streamer in general wants to dream of the idea of either making completely passive income or essentially making enough money on Twitch to be able to basically just do this whenever they want to. But unfortunately, at least in my neck of the woods, that's not how it works. With that said, I'm grateful to say that I have experienced a smoother transition into the end of this year, and we've got some new projects to work on. And basically, I'm kind of learning my way through my field again. And it's when I'm not overwhelmed and when I'm not feeling run down, kind of like I am tonight, that's it's a great feeling. Oof, that sucks. That sucks. I hope I can retain my fully remote status for as long as possible. I have a feeling in the next 5 or 10 years that might change to fully hybrid, but I don't know. I'm grateful for the ability to work from home right now, and I know some people have had to go back to the office, and some people have had bounce back and forth between being in the office and working from home. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a strange place to be, bouncing back and forth between being in the office and working from home. I can tell you, I've learned to sincerely appreciate the blessings that I have right now, and I hope I can hang on to fully remote for a while. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine that would throw you off of equilibrium really fast. Wow. Okay. Okay. Oh, 2 days in the office. Right. Right. Okay. So yeah, essentially hybrid, which is probably what they might do at some point to folks like me, except that I am a considerable distance away from the office. So essentially, I'm almost the equivalent of basically somebody that's out of state. Yeah, I get you. I get you. Like, being able to know about something like that would be a marked benefit. And again, I'm just kind of like messing around in Walt Disney World right now, tooling around areas like the Contemporary Resort, and we visited a few places. I don't think the Animal Kingdom park is going to look very well in typical photogrammetry, but I will say the trees, the procedural trees in here are much better in here than they are in FS 2020. Um, so yeah, tonight has been a bit of a kind of like unusual actual flying night in the sim. I feel better than I did when I got started earlier, so thank you everybody for stopping by and for your support. I would say, in terms of old school RuneScape and watching me, I'm honored, my friend. Thank you so much. I would expect to get back into trying to hit scenery dev hard tomorrow, and probably drinking even more fluids and trying to kick whatever it is that I brought home with me from Disney, which seems to be a cold right now. I'm a little bit achy, but again, wah, DIGI, get over it. But no, it seems to be like a little bit of something that I caught probably on the plane ride back. So plenty of water, plenty of liquids, some soup, and hopefully plenty of bed rest, which reminds me, I should get some bed rest tonight. I will not be doing any scenery dev tonight. I'm hoping to get back to it tomorrow. And what I might do is, if I feel generally dumpy the rest of this week, I might make up for it during Christmas week, since I plan to take some time off of work and then catch up and really sit down and start thinking about plans for the week ahead. And honestly, I think what I want to do is probably. Oh, backspace is that. Sorry. I think what I want to do is probably lay out the planned projects that I have. There's so much stuff that I have to finish for FS 2020, and in general, I want to most likely do FS 2024 and 2020 at the same time. And I have what I believe are the tools to do that, because I have different versions of Blender for 3D object development. I have both FS 2020 and FS 2024 installed. and I have plenty of projects to choose from. Now, what's most likely going to happen is that the majority of the projects that I wanted to start in FS 2020 are simply going to go straight to 2024. Um, tiny airports, or at least municipal airports, are all going to go to 2024. The airports that I started in 2020 that I haven't finished yet, like Plymouth in Massachusetts and Lafayette in New Orleans, are probably going to finish. Kilo Sierra Foxtrot Zulu. I'm gonna break immersion here and go look it up. Kilo Sierra Foxtrot Zulu. Kilo Sierra Foxtrot Zulu. That is North Central State Airport in Smithfield. Where's the map? Also, that reminds me, I have Kilo Papa Uniform Juliet to finish for a friend in in uh, in Northwest Atlanta. So for Trip Taker, if you're watching this, I haven't forgotten. Airport close to your house. I'll have to remember that, Scooter. Thank you. So I'm gonna probably fly over Epcot one more time, and then I think we're actually gonna call it. Tons of PA-28s come out of there. Ooh, okay. We'll have to look that up then. I think the longer that I fly FS 2024, the more I'm noticing the improvements and the updates starting to positively impact the experience. We are more than a few weeks away now from the initial release and how things started up when the sim first got released. Oh, wow. You go into the mall, the parking lot of the mall, and watch them come in. That's great. I used to live in an area in New York where I could see so many planes coming into land at Newark, and that was wonderful. I like that. And yes, chat, I already want to go back to Disney, but it's okay. I'm back in a routine, or at least trying to get back into a routine, about halfway through my first week back into work, and honestly, the pets made it all the more worth it to come back home. Coming into KBOS too, okay. Wait, hold on. You said Kilo Sierra Foxtrot Zulu, North Central State in Smithfield, Lincoln Commons. Duh, okay. Why did I think Smithfield, Illinois? Smithfield, as in outside of Providence. That's why. Okay. Nice. Sorry, had to get my bearings. So, dude, I would so much like to go to Expo. Seriously, I would. I think it's going to depend on a few factors like money and my ability to get some freelance projects done this year. Yeah, I'd like to go. Personally, I would. I would. I'll be paying a very close eye to things like the financials and whether or not we can actually manage it this year. But I would very much like to go. I've seen a lot of people are going. My initial plan was to fly in, but I might drive up if it's possible for me to do so. And honestly, it's something that I would like to go to, if only to say hi to people. But I am also a scenery developer, so if I can get my act together, then we could potentially be doing something big when I'm there. If I do decide to go, by all means, you'll know if you lurk on the stream because I'll be announcing it there. So let's see. Let me hit the old Control Shift E to shut this puppy down. Turn off the avionics, the horn, anti-collision lights, generators, and the battery because I don't care. It's like I'm a noob at Flight Sim all over again, and honestly, it is what it is. You normally don't do this on a real plane or helicopter because you basically be ruining the rotors, but again, like I said, noob. And that's it. That's my debrief of Disney this year. Like I said, wouldn't mind going back in the near future. It's probably not going to happen for at least another year and a half. And that's okay because we've got some projects to tackle. I would say the next thing I'm going to do is probably go on a ship somewhere. I just don't know where and when. And also, this week, I am going to try to do at least one more dev stream so that I can actually get some progress in on the projects which I'm supposed to be working on for release very soon, which is basically the Lakeland, Florida area. Watch my Discord for updates. If you are not a member of my Discord, I apologize that I can't seem to share the Discord link anymore for some, as of yet, incredibly weird reason. I'm going to look into it. And I will be, again, looking into making some progress and using Blender and creating more projects or starting more projects that I don't finish. And hopefully releasing more stuff on flightsim.to. If you don't already know, I have released Higginsville for FS 2024. Higginsville, which is Kilo Hotel India Golf. That was the first airport that I released on flightsim.to. I will put the link up in chat so that you guys can download it if you are a fan of GA airport flying and you want to try something new. So let me open this in a new tab and I'll put the link in chat so you guys can check it out. I'll put this in chat in the browser. There you go. I already released a version of this for 2020 a few years ago, and I did not update it much. I did put a few updates on it, and I apologize in advance because there are some things that I haven't fixed or figure out how to get working. For some reason, taxi signs do not render. Fortunately, there aren't that many at Higginsville. It's a small municipal airport outside of Kansas City, but eventually, I think, hopefully, that probably will be fixed so I can actually finish it. Also, if you want to check me out on flightsim.to, here's my profile, and that should be links to my recent posts and other airports that I've uploaded for FS 2020. I think most or all of which should actually be visible or compatible with FS 2024. There may be some slight deviations in terms of satellite imagery. And if you are interested in joining me on my journey into flight sim as a potentially significant money infuser and career supplanter, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/digi123 and you can either make a one-time donation by buying me a virtual coffee or become a member. There are two tiers. You can become a member for $5 a month and you can become a supporter for $10 a month. I didn't create additional support levels because I'm a noob at this, but at the same time, only if you feel so moved. That's totally up to you. Your support will help me to be able to create new ideas and potentially create supporters only content like I've been experimenting with on that platform. You could also click on my my name to look at my about page and see the other ways you can contribute. But again, this is only something that I would ask if you feel so moved. If you don't have the money, if you just like coming in here and you just like lurking, that's great. If you like coming in here and saying hello, that goes a long way to, encouraging me as I continue to do these scenery dev streams. And certainly those folks that do choose to step up and support the channel will eventually get their just desserts. I'm going to try to come up with ways of really rewarding that support in terms of behind the scenes content and things that I'm still cooking up. But that is something I'm going to be working on in the not too distant future. And it does look like the rotor blades are almost done spinning, so I can probably shift C and step out this helicopter. Let me see. there we go. It's kind of fun that you can actually see this thing kind of power down. This thing is technically done. It's just that the rotor brakes are busy slowing this thing down, and I've got a full contingent of people inside the helicopter, including my co-pilot, which is kind of fun. The rotor brake should be working. Is there anything else that I need to do? Nope. Don't think so. All right, folks. Time for y'all to get out. And if I step out of the helicopter, I shouldn't see anybody there. Well, I guess we're working on that. Or I did not finish it. Oh, I didn't actually reset the config. So, there we go. Now if I step out, they're gone. Ta-da! I'm a magician. No. All right, folks. I think that's going to do it for me for tonight. Again, stay tuned. Hopefully I'll get that Discord link issue fixed so I can continue to provide that link on occasion. And again, stay tuned for additional updates about scenery dev and the like. Again, friends, thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate seeing you here. Even if you were just lurking, thank you for lurking. You are boosting the channel algorithm. And again, stay tuned. I'm going to see what happens in the next few weeks and months. And hopefully we can create something really nice and special. If it doesn't turn out to be something which is a, paid adventure, then I will still create airports because I think I like to positively impact people's lives that fly aircraft out of small airports. It just might take a little bit longer. But with your support, I might be able to close that gap sooner. Have a great night, friends. Appreciate having everybody here. And like I always like to say at the end of every stream, if you want true peace, you want the Prince of Peace, and that is Jesus Christ, Lord of Lords and King of Kings. Have a great night. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for stopping by, Kev. And everybody enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful evening. I'm going to go rest up and chill and take in tomorrow as God Almighty lets me. Have a great night, everybody. Privilege being here. Take care.